Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Mobile Home Investing for Newbies, our Facebook group. For those who are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining our group. We are super, super excited to have you in this group. And this is just really an opportunity for you guys that are interested in mobile homes, looking to learn some stuff, to hop in this group and just talk, ask questions, look at people's deals, post your deals, share your experiences as you're going along the process. You guys will see me sharing my experience, how I'm closing deals, working with buyer, losing deals, right? All the whole process, every single thing you get to see, so that you guys can learn from my experiences as well. So today I'm super, super excited. We have my guy, everybody's guy, Calvin Ahia of Mobile Home Investing Full Time. Guys, if you have not, please make sure that you take the time to join that group. Follow and follow Calvin as well. His group has been tremendous help to me in my journey in mobile home investing. If I have questions, I'm like, what do I do? Right? Run over to his group. I'll post a question, and usually he's the one like answering a lot of the questions with the precise information that you need, like specific to your question, and you get it done. Like, it's been really, really, really helpful for me in my journey. You have a lot of experienced individuals who have gone. They're definitely beyond the newbie standpoint. So you have an opportunity to just see some of the the opportunities within mobile homes, all of the different strategies, and how people have gone from their newbie phase all the way up to where they are now. So definitely make sure that you tune into his group. And welcome, Calvin.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on?
How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm good. It's always a pleasure. I literally was on his page like 2 days ago or something like that. And so like we just bouncing back and forth trying to give each other's groups tremendous value as
Absolutely.
always. And today is going to be really, really great. I'm also going to be learning along with y'all too in this aspect, because this is not something that I have done a lot of. So today we are going to be talking about how to handle park managers. So first of all, for those who don't know, I'm just allow you, Calvin, to give a quick introduction, and then we will get into how to deal with park managers when in the mobile home
Yeah.
space.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I want to thank you. I'm very grateful for you having me on here. And I want to
Absolutely.
wish you a happy late Mother's Day. So
Thank
I hope
you.
everybody and all the mothers in your group had a good time this weekend. So I want to say that. But yeah, so just a little bit about myself. So I'm in Southwest Louisiana, in Lafayette, Louisiana. I've been in a mobile home game since 2013, where
Mhm.
it's more of a side hustle to my full time job. I was a regional manager at Planet Fitness, had a multiple health clubs throughout the state of Louisiana that I was managing when I decided to eventually leave that, right? Get out of the rat race, get out of the 9 to 5 grind. And in 2018, I decided to make it a full time hustle. So what I primarily do is I wholesale mobile homes full time. I link up with investors, primarily park owners that are buying communities and looking to fill vacancies in their parks, right? So I become a resource for them with that, as well as helping with evictions and abandonment situations. So I do this nationwide, and I also am a like Jasmine. I'm a big believer in the virtual model and doing things remotely. So I
Yes.
think that's where we're really aligned with that. But yeah,
Yes.
so that's a little bit about me, and just here to see if we can answer some questions and shed some light on some things.
Absolutely. I'm getting people calling me like, "Are you on Calvin Live right now?" I'm like, "Yeah, we live. Where y'all at?" So this is how we definitely are live in the group. We're kicking it. So yeah, that's just a great story, and definitely we certainly align on the virtual aspect. And that was something that certainly attracted me to you in the beginning. So Guys, let us know, say hi, let us know where you're tuning in from. We had Gigi saying hi, Calvin and Jasmine. How
Hey.
you doing, Gigi? Nice to have you here. So look, I want to really just kind of, jump into how to deal with park managers. So even for myself, if you have questions, make sure you post your questions so that we can have Calvin answer these questions. He's been doing this for years, has tons of experience doing this both locally and virtually. So I think it's like the best of both worlds. So how are you even getting in contact with like these park managers? How are you even finding these park managers?
So there's a couple ways. Look, I'm really really big on referrals and networking and building relationships. So I do get park owners, managers, and owners that contact me because they got my number from another manager or park owner,
Mm,
right? So there is a lot of that. But as far as like outside of that, like how would I connect with the manager? The first thing I want to say is I know, some people will ask me like, what do you do like if a park manager doesn't want to give you access to the owner, right?
mm,
Regarding that information and all that type of stuff. So for me, I want to start with this. For me, I don't. It doesn't matter to me if I'm talking to the manager or the park owner. I don't have to talk to the park owner,
right.
right? What I've learned is that every park's different. Every situation's different. You could have one park where the park owner may be hands off, right? And maybe they've turned day-to-day operations over to the park manager, and that's going to be your point of contact if you do business in that park. And for me, I'm
Mm,
okay with that.
right.
And then in other cases, you may have a park owner that is very hands-on, right?
Mm-hmm.
They might maybe they live either in the property or maybe near the property. They're
Mm-hmm.
there day to day, and they do, maybe they're the maintenance guy and everything. They do it all, right?
Yeah.
Self-managed. And if that's the case, I'm fine with that too, right? So my job isn't to get to the owner. My job is to connect with whoever my point of contact is going to be on a regular basis,
Mm-hmm.
right? Either the person that's calling the shots or the person that's direct to the person that's calling the shots. I can
Right.
work through a middle person. I'm okay with that. So
Right.
that's the one thing I want to say because I think that I mention that because I think sometimes when getting started, people assume they have to go to the top. And it's not always the case. I mean, being a manager myself for years,
Right.
I understand that my role was I was the buffer between ownership and corporate, and then the staff, employees, and members, and I was that in between. So I get that.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the first thing I'll say. But I'll tell you my preferred way to connect with a park, whether it's the
Mm-hmm.
manager or the owner on the phone or in person, is I like to have a specific reason for contacting them.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
What I found in the beginning, a lot of you guys may be starting off, and perhaps you're maybe Googling parks in your area to create a phone list, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're going to drive for dollars, and you're going to call parks and kind of introduce yourself. So I'm not telling you that doesn't work. What I'm telling you is that my experience is it was hit or miss for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And whether you're doing this part time in between juggling a full time job and family and all that, or you're in it, all the time,
Right.
you have to be mindful of how you are applying your time and energy. Like how
Right.
you got to budget that, right?
Right.
So for me, driving around all day and calling park owners, showing up to parks unannounced, that wasn't the best way for me. Like I didn't get the
Yeah.
results that I needed to get with the
Mm-hmm.
time and energy that I was investing into that. Right.
Yeah.
So I needed to find a better way. And what I also found is when I called these guys unannounced, right? Hey, and I gave them the pitch, right? I'm a mobile home investor.
Yeah.
That was a mistake
Yes.
from the start. Uh, and then I went into pitching them on how I could save their park and do this and that, basically over promising,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then setting myself up for a failure.
Right.
And then what I found was I wasn't feeling the energy back, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I felt like I was bothering them. I felt like I was, like I was just annoying them. And many times they would ask me, who is this again? You know,
Yeah.
and how can I help you? Listen. Let me do this. Let me get your number. Let me call you back.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and then I
Mm-hmm.
never hear from them. Right, and I
Exactly.
kind of knew that. So after you go through that a few times, you kind of not that I wanted to give up, but I just wanted to find a better way. Like, why won't these guys talk to me, right?
Yeah.
I went in there and told them how I could add value. I did this. I was transparent, which is important, but I just wasn't getting to them. I felt like
Right.
I needed a better way. So the one change I made that I would say is the biggest difference, where I started to get a different energy back from them, was when I called them for a specific reason. And that reason was regarding a mobile home for sale in their park,
Yep.
right? It changes the game. So if I'm calling to pitch them on what I can do for them, I'm probably one of, I don't know how many people, that call them and they get this pitch. What I started to do is I started to think along the lines of a park manager or park owner or
Right.
operator. What type of things do they deal with on a daily basis? What
Mm-hmm.
are some of the nuances? And when I start to put myself in their shoes, I thought, you know what? People lie to them. People pitch them all day. People deceive them. People are late on rent. Uh, you got some tenants that might have signed up a lease with two adults and one child, but there's 8 cars in the driveway every day. There's something going on, right?
Right.
And that's where that's what they're used to dealing with, right? They're used to people, like I said, not being honest with them. So
Right.
when I looked at it from that, I thought, I got to come at it a different way,
Right.
But what is so important to them that they would want to talk to me,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I had to find something, and that what I found was calling them regarding a home for sale in their park.
Mm-hmm.
That changed the whole energy of the conversation, right?
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and what I started doing, typically when I share this with people, the next question is, well, how do you know if there's a home for sale in the park without knowing there's a home for sale in the park, right?
Yeah.
You haven't asked them yet, but so I guess what I would do, my hack, is I would contact sellers that had homes in parks that were
Mm-hmm.
selling parks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would profile the for sale ads, right?
Yep.
I'd look at marketplace or buy and sell groups or Craigslist, OfferUp, whatever platform. And what I'm looking for are ads that might say uh, can be moved or stay in the park with
Mm-hmm.
approval.
Mm-hmm.
Um, 3 bed, 2 bath, single wide. Can stay, lot rent is 150. So there was something in the description that told me that it's in a park.
Yeah.
And then what I would do is I would contact the seller, have a conversation with them about their property, and then I would ask them for contact information for the park.
Mm-hmm.
Once they gave it to me, I was in,
Yes.
right? And now I'm calling Jasmine, Miss Park owner, about
Mm-hmm.
lot number 10. Mr. Smith is selling his home, and I'm calling to have a conversation with you now about it. And I
Yeah.
got a different type of energy from them when I started doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really, really good, because in the beginning when I was starting, I was hearing the same thing, like just make a pitch, call, ask, are there properties available? And we were literally saying, like, not getting far with that. The energy was just like, okay, another person calling me, right? Like I got stuff to do.
Yep.
So I did literally, if just going through the experiences without knowing the exact thing. Once I marketed directly to the seller. Then the seller's like, oh, this can stay. I was in a park. Contact the park managers, and it is a completely different conversation.
Yep.
They're much more willing to even just share information, like even if it does not end in you working in that park, like just making that connection.
Yes.
They're willing to share information with you, and then continue to kind of build that relationship, right? So
Yeah, it affects their bottom line
right.
because they want to know what your intentions are.
Yeah.
They got it. Like, they may not want to talk to you still, but they got
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Now they have to, right? What do you plan on doing with it?
Yep.
So perhaps the home is a home that the park owner needs moved out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're buying it, then he or she needs to let you know. Listen, just so you know, it's got to be moved, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe it can stay, or maybe the park owner doesn't want it to move. So
Mm-hmm.
now they got to talk to me because they want to find out what my intentions are with the home.
Right.
And all I'm trying to do here is I'm just trying to open that door and extend that conversation just a little bit. I'm just buying time here
Yeah.
so that they can start talking to me and we can turn it into a conversation.
Yeah. So do you feel like because you're approaching it from that standpoint that the park managers are more open to, like you said, open to the conversation of you being an investor and, possibly having renters in there or flipping it or whatever? Are they more open to that once you come in from that way?
They're open to at least it being brought up. They might have a position on that,
Right.
and that might be it. So they're not going to change, perhaps, but we're at least can have a conversation. And even though they're not, I guess, what we call in the industry investor friendly,
Right.
that's okay, right?
Right.
That's okay because I
Yeah.
think that's just verbiage. Like, what does that even mean, right?
Right.
And so that's one thing. I don't come in and I'm not a mobile home investor, so that's not
Mm-hmm.
my approach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't come in asking them if they are investor friendly,
Mm-hmm.
right? I
Mm-hmm.
do those
Mm-hmm.
types of things. So I find like those types of words just has a bad stigma attached to it.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys are most of your parks, not all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously there are what we call investor friendly parks, but majority of them are against what we would call being investor friendly. And investor friendly, typically what we're talking about is a park that will allow us to invest by way of being a landlord, buying homes to rent them out, or in some cases maybe fix and flip or sell on payments, right?
Yeah.
That's typically what we're referring to. But when we're talking about wholesaling, we're not doing any of that,
Right.
right? So I get a lot of people that will ask me questions like, so how do you apply to all these parks? Do you have to apply in order to wholesale? And I'm like, nope,
Right.
I'm not taking residence there, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not taking ownership there either. Those are
Right.
the only two reasons why I might need to apply, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just playing the in between. That typically leads to the next question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I'm wholesaling, do I have to talk to the park? Right? That's usually what comes up. And I don't know how you feel about it, but this is my take on it.
No,
My
I agree with your take. I've heard it before, and I'm like, I agree.
Yeah, my answer is you don't have to. You do
Mm-hmm.
not. I mean, I can flip a mobile home on paper, in a park without the park owner even knowing who I am. I could be total ghost, right? And
Yeah.
in and out. So the next question is usually like, well, then why would you want to, right? And for me, this isn't about like operating under the radar. This is about doing opposite. I want the park. I need the park owner to know who I am.
Yeah.
I need the manager to know my name and have my number on speed dial,
Mm-hmm.
right? As the mobile home guy, save me in your phone as the mobile home guy.
Yeah.
And anytime you have an eviction, abandonment, or a vacancy, I need to be top of mind, right? I want to
Mm-hmm.
be a resource to you. So I want you to know who I am. I also found that by being transparent and being open with the park manager or owner, is that they appreciate that. Like I said, early in the call when we talked about park owners being deceived and lied to and that sort of thing. I think when you come across as transparent and open about things, it's almost like a breath of fresh air. Like you're coming across a little bit different than
Yeah.
most people they're going to engage with during the course of a day or week. So that's why I like to just be open up front, introduce myself, and let them know exactly what I'm looking to do here.
Yeah. Yeah. And the cool thing is, like, also when you are approaching them, if you're kind of doing it cold, you're having to find a problem to then create a solution for, versus you're
Yes.
going in from this way. You already know that there is a problem or there is something that you can provide a solution for. So you're
Yeah.
coming in, you know what I mean? You're coming in straight away, giving them a solution, to something that versus like trying to get it out of them. And, they're just like, look, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's really important. That's really important. And I actually, even beyond necessarily dealing with the park manager, or trying to build a long-term relationship with the park manager, which I think is the number one reason that you should be building that, or being transparent with the parks and telling them what it is that you're doing, and instead of doing it under the radar, but also to protect and make sure that you're kind of helping out your seller too. When I first got started, and I wasn't as, I was just like doing stuff and just trying to get deals and like figuring it out. We wholesaled a mobile home in a park that could stay, and later on, the park, the park got upset with the seller, like tried to go after her for a whole bunch of stuff. At the end of the day, everything panned out, everything worked out, but it was just a headache that, had I had a conversation with the park manager from the jump and like really understood everything that was going on, we could have avoided all of that, so just also just like avoiding headaches, for yourself and your clients, whoever you're working with, the sellers that you're helping, as well. So yeah, that's I totally agree with you on that. Now, do you have, like, if you, let's say you talk to a park manager who says, I'm not investor friendly, or I'm not interested in what it is that you're offering, do you kind of cut the relationship off at that point, or are you continuing to follow up with them? Like, what
Well,
was
see,
that?
so basically when I'm contacting them, I'm not pitching them on how I can help them.
Okay.
That's secondary. We're going to get to that.
Okay.
So I used to lead with that.
Okay.
But I wasn't. Because I felt like I was being upfront and I felt like I was being honest and this was the way to do it.
Right.
But I felt like sometimes, you said something earlier about them having a problem to solve. What I skipped as a wholesaler is first identifying a problem that they had. I came in providing a solution, assuming they had a problem.
Got you.
And
Right.
sometimes that can be taken like offensively, right? To somebody. If I come in and help you, telling somebody, that you can fix some of their problems, and they're like, what problems?
Right.
That can be a little standoffish. So I kind of, I switched it up, and that was like, I caught that on the back end of my conversation and threw that in there about how I could be a resource. So typically what I'm doing is, once I call the park regarding a home for sale in their park, I introduce myself, right? So it might be, hey, Jasmine, listen, thanks for taking my call. I know you're probably super busy, so I'll be short and straight to the point. I'm calling regarding lot number 10. I've been talking to Mr. Smith there. It sounds like he's looking to sell his home. He contacted me. We're interested in the home, but before we make any offers or move forward, we always like to talk to the park owner or manager. We just have a few questions. Is this a good time? That's it. Like that's, and it's like, okay, like first, I'm not saying investor and I'm not saying all that. I'm talking to one of your tenants. They want to sell. In some cases, the park may know, they may be aware of it. And in some cases, they may not be.
Okay.
Right? But the other thing, other than introducing yourself, is you also look, sometimes a seller tells you what they need you to hear. Right.
Yes.
But we know there's three sides of the story, so we got to go find the other two.
Yes.
Right? The park is going to provide, maybe another angle. Maybe there's some things. Maybe the seller forgot to tell about the back rent they owe to the park.
Right.
Right. And maybe the park owner needs us to know, or the manager needs us to know, hey, whatever you guys do, this needs to be taken care of first.
Yeah.
Right. So that's another reason why we want to talk to the park, to find out the other side of the story. So that's important. So what'll happen there is once the park owner says, yeah, sure, how can I help you? Now we're gonna get it. And guys, this can be done over the phone, right? I don't have to drive all over, especially with today's gas prices.
Right.
Doing this, like I'm on the phone, right?
Yes.
And so what I'm basically going with it is, yeah. So look, we're interested in the home, Jasmine, and I'm just wondering, do you guys allow subleasing? For me, I get right to it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to beat around the bush. I need to know this, right? Now, keep in mind, my intentions is to wholesale it.
Right.
Right. So why I'm asking this, to me, it doesn't matter what the answer is, right? Whether it's yes or no, that's not going to affect my, what I'm doing. The only thing that it's going to do for me as a wholesaler, it's going to help me identify what my buyer pool is going to look like.
Gotcha.
Either it's going to include consumers and investors, or just consumers.
Gotcha.
Right. And that way I'm not wasting time looking at the wrong buyer. Right. Because I'm thinking of the end in mind. So that's all that's going to tell me. But what it's also going to do is it's going to help build that rapport between me and that park. Why? Because I'm asking permission.
Yes.
And perhaps they're used to people doing things in the park without asking permission.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm playing to that side. I'm thinking about all the things that park owners and managers have to deal with, and that's one of them. Right? They find out that the person that signed the lease 2 years ago isn't the person living in a home. They rented it out to their cousin.
Right.
Right. And the lot rent hasn't been paid in a couple months, and there's a car, on jacks in the driveway, and that's against park policy.
Right.
And there's all these issues. So they deal with that. And so when I come in, it's a different angle, right? And they're more willing to work with me in that. So obviously, if they say yes, that they
Mm-hmm.
are, they allow subleasing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then that just tells me again, I can go after some of my cash buyers, and we can do that. But if it's no, that's fine, right?
Right.
All I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of pivot from there. And if you say no, no, we do not. You might say subleasing. What do you mean? Well, if we were to buy the property and rent it out to a tenant,
Right.
no, 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 we don't do that. No,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, we don't work with investors. Okay, no problem. I'm glad we got a hold of you. That's the reason why we always contact the park before we move forward. But
Yeah.
listen, Miss Jasmine, just a quick question. So obviously we're in the mobile home game. We get buyers that contact us on a daily basis, right? If we could, Mr. Smith still needs to get his home sold. If we
Mm-hmm.
could help him get his home sold and bring a buyer to the table, are you cool with that as long as the buyer is park approved?
Mm.
And that's it. Like there's no pitch. That's just a straight up question, and it's kind of a rhetorical question because I kind of know the answer.
Right. Right.
And in the time that I've been involved with mobile homes, and I shouldn't jinx myself, I've never had a park owner say no.
Right.
I
Wow.
mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
of course.
I'm asking them a question that basically, if you want to translate, I'm saying, "Hey, Mr. Park owner, if I hand deliver you a
Yeah.
park approved tenant,
You're right.
pre-qualified on a silver platter, so that the lot rent doesn't get interrupted between ownership, are you cool with that?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what are
They're
they
like,
going to say?
of course.
What's the catch, right? And so I let them know that, and they, a lot of usually where that conversation goes is, yeah, they just have to, we need a background check.
Yeah.
We need 3 months of bank statement, whatever's required, right? And they say, oh yeah, no, no problem, no problem. So just so you know too, what we do is we do a little pre-screening on the back end,
I was gonna
right?
ask. Yeah.
So I don't know if you're going to be our point of contact, or do you have a park manager? Who would we be talking to as far as that application process, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're going to talk to Cindy in the office. She'll be in here Monday morning. You can talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. And then she'll have all the park requirements and policies and everything we need. Yep. They got to have this, and that. Okay, great. No problem. So that's where that's going. And what all I'm doing, guys, is I'm getting the park owner out of my way
Yeah.
so that I can operate, right? I've
Yep.
had conversation with them. I've introduced myself, told them what my intentions were, asked permission, got denied. I pivoted, showed another way on how I can maybe solve some problems, proposed it to them in a way that was kind of a win-win.
Mm-hmm.
And then they
Mm-hmm.
said, okay. And now they're out of my way, and that's less, the path is clear.
Yeah.
Now it's one-on-one with me and the seller, right? So now I
Mm-hmm.
can go in and do my thing on that end. I always leave the park manager or owner, when I'm having that conversation. I'll let them know, say, well, look, great. Look, I'm not going to keep you. I'm pretty sure you were busy, but just know we're going to have a talk with Mr. Smith. And then once we have that conversation, whatever comes out of it, we'll be sure to reach out, and we'll keep you updated.
Yeah.
How's that sound? And it's like perfect, and then we just move forward. Now, before that phone hangs up, I'm gonna drop my pitch, right? And that's where it comes at the end. It's like, well, look, Jasmine, listen, again, thank you for your time. We'll talk to Mr. Smith. We'll be in touch, and we'll let you know. And look, if you don't mind, keep my number.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever deal with any evictions, any abandoned homes, or vacant lots. I noticed there were a couple here when I drove through the park the other day.
Mhm.
If so, we would love to be a resource for you. We network with a lot of parks in the market, and in this market, and we help with vacancies and different situations. So definitely keep my number. You can save me as the mobile home guy or whatever, and if you got any situations, we'd love to help.
Oh my gosh.
And then finish. I get off the phone and I leave them on that note, and then go in with Mr. Smith and see if I can make a deal out of it.
Let me tell you, that was golden, 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 golden. Like that was everything right there. Like, thank you for that. Like, somebody just liked it. Of course, you have to. That was great. That was great, Calvin.
Look, I
This
want to
was
share. Let me
so
share this with you real quick,
wow.
because I call it this wasn't my first deal, and I guess it should have been my first deal. I thought it was going to be, and this is before I started just wholesaling. I was
Yeah.
doing some creative stuff where I was starting to buy homes on payments and resell them, kind of like a
Right.
sandwich.
Right.
Piece. And
Yes.
so I was starting to do that before wholesaling, right?
Okay.
I got into fix and flip, got my butt kicked,
Mm-hmm.
pivoted, trying to do some creative stuff that I was learning. So I started buying homes on payments and bringing a buyer and that before going full out wholesaling. And what happened on this one deal is I had it all set up. I had a motivated seller willing to take payments. I had a motivated buyer, willing to buy, buy on payments. Um, the down payment to the seller was going to be covered by my buyer and then some. Right.
Okay.
So I was going to walk away with some cash in pocket. And then the monthly notes obviously covered the seller's fee and then some and the lot rent. So I would cash flow. And
Mm-hmm.
either they pay me off or I own the home and take it back and redo it. Right. So I was on my way, had everything lined up. And I remember being excited. This was going to be the first one. And then I contacted the park owner to let them know and find out what the application process was like. And what
Right.
happened there is he got totally offended,
Oh, wow.
totally upset. He wanted to know who I was and what made me, and all this, and who said I could rent in his park and all that. And I was like, I don't know, and he basically got upset at me, and then he kicked me out of the park and said like, no,
Yeah.
we're not, we can't do business with you. And
Mm.
it was all because I guess his feelings were hurt because I didn't ask permission is what it came down to.
Yeah.
And so that helped me get to my approach today because like I that's where I started evaluating, like it was either quit or figure this out. Like I felt like I was this close. That deal proved to me that I could do it. I just screwed up, right?
Yeah.
And so instead of feeling like, okay, this doesn't work, I was like, no, I tasted that one.
Yeah.
Like I smelt
Yeah.
it, like it was in my
Yeah.
hands, it got away. And so it actually drove me and said, if I could go back and do one thing different, like what would happen? Well, the next
Yeah.
time I need to talk to the park first.
Yeah.
I'm out of order. Like I'm not,
Yeah.
I need to switch some things around. The steps were out of order. So
Mm-hmm.
when I did that, I got better results and then eventually fixed my conversation with them and my reason for calling. And that's really what made the biggest difference for me. So that's my approach today. It's the same conversation I'll have with a park owner today.
Yeah, and I love that too because I think a lot of, especially the newbies, they get into it, they try something, it doesn't quite work, and you just say it does, and then you just identify that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Versus saying, you know what, like that, could I change something? Could I do something? Just tweaking things. Sometimes, like you're just a little tweak away from huge success, like yourself. So I think that's paramount just to take note of. When you like are having that communication with the park owner, park managers, park owners, whatever, do you find that when you come with your buyer or your buyer goes there, that they're more the and they're applying, like they're more quick? I find that they're more quick to approve my
Prove. Yeah.
buyers,
Yes.
right? Like before
Yes.
having those calls, it was like, did we get approved? Did we not get approved? Like, what's going on? And now that we have those conversations, it's like,
Yeah.
hey, just let you know, like, the process. Do you find that as well?
Yep. You get it all out the way. And that's why I was saying earlier when I mentioned that I'm getting the park owner out of my way,
Yeah.
right? That's basically what it is, where they're not going to provide resistance along the way because I mean that they're the person. I mean, they're the one that's going to call the shots, either
Mm-hmm.
them or their manager or the owner.
Yeah.
So that's the person you're going to have to not go through, but work with, right?
Yeah.
Work through.
Yeah.
But yes, to answer your question, I mean, and I think that's just humans.
Mm-hmm.
Not that's
Mm-hmm.
not just park owners. I think that's just humans. The more upfront you can be, and the
Yeah.
more opportunity you give people to know what to expect,
Mm-hmm.
right, and all that. So for me, I mean, I know we're not talking about talking to sellers and all that, but
Yeah.
just talking to people, like whether it's a park owner, manager, or it's a seller, buyer. I'm really, really big on really focusing on whether or not they get it. Like, is there clarity here?
Yeah.
Right. And so if we're face to face, obviously there's body language, there's facial
Mm-hmm.
expressions and things like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
When it's over the phone, there's volume, there's tone that you
Mm-hmm.
that you can read into, and sometimes you can stimulate responses that will you know get clarity. So
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, like, okay, so I mean, Jasmine, does that make sense to you? Or
Mm-hmm.
something like that, that's going to have you like respond.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Yes.
Or if I say, so does that make sense to you, Jasmine? And you say, yeah, don't make sense. We got to
Yeah.
go over it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not gonna, and I'm not gonna ignore that. That's a red flag.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I think maybe as a newbie, you tend to ignore red flags. I know I did. It got me in trouble in several different situations
Right.
because we just want that deal.
Yeah.
So kind of like, yeah, she understood, but no,
Mhm.
she didn't. Your instincts are saying that she was hesitant and she didn't get it. Spend that extra second and go over it with them again.
Yeah.
Make sure that they get it, and because it's gonna. What I learned is that if you don't do these little things, it's gonna catch you later on in the transaction, where the whole
Mhm.
deal could fall apart,
Yep.
but could have been saved by simply just going back and circling back and making sure that we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
your value and what value you're providing.
Absolutely. And I had got this question. It's a little bit off topic, but on topic, about when you're dealing with your buyers, if they don't get approved, or the question was, do you, once you select your buyer, do you then tell all your other buyers like, we don't want you or whatever, or do you kind of keep them on the back burner? Because what if this person doesn't get approved by the park?
Yep. So I don't. The home is available until I have some money in my hand,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they can have 10 people that say they're going to apply to the park. It's first come.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically it's the deal. The home is available to the. I'm going to tell you as a buyer, along with anybody else, the same
Yeah.
thing. This is what's required. You got this is this is where you go. This is who you talk to,
Yeah.
and you got to go. You got to go get approved. I won't take any money from anybody before getting approved.
Okay.
That's a waste of time.
Okay.
Right. So
Yeah.
I let them go do their thing, and the first person to come back with me with approval and the funds, then we can move forward. Other than
Okay.
that, I'm not taking it off the market. It's available.
Okay. So that's a different approach. That's a different approach. So you don't take like a deposit or
Oh
anything.
no. I will take a deposit.
Okay.
But I'm saying until I get a deposit, it's still on the
I got
market.
you. I got you.
So people ask me how do you qualify your buyers? Do you request proof of funds? I'm
Right.
like, no, I request deposit.
Right.
Proof of funds is a deposit.
Right. The funds is the proof.
That's the proof.
Yeah. Because I mean, this is very different. I think some people, they may have been looking at wholesaling houses, and it doesn't always, we're talking about, a $200,000 house that somebody might put versus a $10,000, mobile home. Is like, we need the cash. We need to see the actual funds in real time. So what are a few requirements? Like what are a few things that a park may require for someone that's looking to live in their parks?
Yeah, so I mean, it'd be like your typical any other rental units. They're looking for for a background check. That's pretty typical.
Mm-hmm.
Not
And
all
the
parks
background is
ask
like
for
for
that.
criminal.
Yep. Some type of criminal background check.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can't have felonies or things like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And then proof of income,
Right.
proof of employment. And then sometimes they might need some bank statements, maybe for a few months.
Right.
Maybe some references. But those are some of the typical things that will be asked. I never had one asked for a credit score or anything like that.
Yeah.
Those are the typical things.
Okay. And I know you had some park managers like on your page. I think I know because I watched it. You had Kevin Bupp on
Yep.
Recently on your page. And again, guys, follow Mobile Home Investing full time. You guys are going to get a ton of value in there. If you're looking to, get started, but then also just look at all the opportunities that are available to you in mobile homes, like long term, be it parks, rentals, like tons. I mean, there's tons of things to get into. So definitely check out Calvin's group. But he was just sharing, some reasons, I guess, why people wouldn't, why these park managers may not be interested? Like what are the reasons, so that we can kind of make sure that we're not doing those things? What are some reasons that park managers don't like dealing with investors? Is there anything specific or?
Well, I think the main, I mean, there's a couple things. I think one thing, like for a lot of them, it's previous experience. They've been burnt in the past,
Yeah.
where someone in our industry overpromised and underperform,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe someone that's a newbie, just getting started, and all good intentions, but it just didn't work out the way they
Right.
thought.
Right.
So a lot of times it's that, and it'll set the park owner back and create problems, and it just leaves a bad taste in their mouth.
Yeah.
But I think most that I deal with anyway, it's basically they would prefer someone that owns the home with pride of ownership, is going to take
Mhm.
care of the property, and
Right.
typically be a better tenant than someone that's renting, some a renter basically,
Yeah.
right? And not to talk bad about renters,
Right.
but that's just the facts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone, renters have that reputation of maybe tearing some things up,
Yep.
leaving in the middle of the night,
Yep.
not paying and all that, and then you got to go chase after them, and it's a big headache, right?
Yeah.
So what they would prefer is the person that owns the home, lives in the home,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that is, again, it typically brings a higher quality tenant to the park, because they want to, they're going to pay their rent on time. They're working. They own the home. They care about the maybe the cosmetic look of the home on the
Right.
outside, things
Right.
like that. Where renter is just, and
Yeah.
it's not theirs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No,
that's
for
the
sure.
main reason I would say, with that.
Yeah.
Um, but there are park owners that will work with you.
Right.
And all I'll say is, if you get a shot, you gotta deliver. That's the key to it. You gotta
Yeah.
deliver, and if you do, it's gonna lead to other opportunities.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. I love that. And do you find any differences? I'm wondering, do you find any differences from park owned versus tenant owned parks? Because I mean, the park owned, I mean, you're dealing with the actual park owner or park
You mean it
manager.
like you mean as far as deals, like doing deals,
Well,
or
I guess them being open to working with you, because they own. I guess in that case, if it's a park owned mobile home, the park manager or the park owner owns it. So maybe they're renting it out. Do you
yeah,
offer anything like that if they were looking to like rent out their
yep. So
bringing them
sometimes,
renters?
I mean, sometimes you can help by maybe bring a buyer in.
Yeah,
So I've had park owners that will pay a referral fee if you can bring a park approved a buyer to the table,
yeah.
right? So they might not let you buy and rent, or like that, but they've got inventory and they're willing to work with you. And
Hmm.
as a mobile home specialist, and you're going to bring a qualified buyer to the table, and they're willing to pay you a fee for it,
Yeah,
right? I mean, either way, they got to get those homes filled,
right.
right? And you're solving a problem there for them. So yeah, there are definitely park owners that will work with you. Some of these guys too, in addition to willing to pay you a fee, some of them will even offer to pay, if not all of it, a portion of the moving costs. If you can help
Yes.
bring a home to the in, they'll do that. Or if they own their own homes, like you're saying, that's a job to get those homes filled. So sometimes you can provide value that way.
Yeah, yeah. And do you have any trouble when the home needs to just be moved? Are they more just like, look, come just get this thing if you can get it
Yeah,
out?
yeah. So, well, when it comes to that, guys, one of the things that I always make sure, like when I'm having that conversation with that park owner or manager, introducing myself and talking about Mr. Smith's mobile home, right? What
Hmm.
I'm also going to find out from the park is what they like. What do they want to see happen here, right?
Hmm.
Like you're going to find through that conversation, I'm going to find out whether or not the park wants that home out of here,
Yeah.
wants the home to stay, would prefer that it stays, or maybe doesn't matter. I run
Right.
into that too. They're cool with either way. They just want notice if you're going to move it and all that, but they're not going to put pressure on you, because of
Mhm.
that. So I like to find out, because the one thing when I asked that park, look, so Mr. Park owner, just wondering, so we're interested in the home, can that home stay here, or do you guys prefer that it be moved? I know,
Yeah.
we work with a lot of parks in the area, and it seems that, different parks have different policies. I was wondering, what your take was on it.
Right.
what your position is on this. So I do that for a couple of reasons. One, I want to know. I want to find
Yeah.
out. Like I want to work with them, right?
Yeah.
And I tell them that too. I said the reason why I'm asking is, I mentioned to you that we network with other parks in the area, and what we aim to do is work with them, right? So we don't want to move a home out of the park if it's gonna set you back, right?
Yeah.
That's not what we're here to do. At the
Mm-hmm.
same time, we deal with parks that sometimes they might have policies where if the home is older than a certain age and it's sold in the park, then
Mm-hmm.
the new owner has to remove it. That's
Yeah.
typical. So I
Yep.
was wondering if you had any of those policies in place.
I love
So what
it.
I'm doing there, guys, there's a few things that's going on, even subliminally to that park manager or owner. Because as they hear me talking, what they're hearing is he keeps saying he's networking with other parks. He said that 3 times, right? He's saying that it's very obvious that he's familiar with park policies
Mm-hmm.
by his
Mm-hmm.
conversation, and he's asking us what our position is on it. Who the hell speaks like that?
Yep.
They don't talk to people like that. That's the definition of coming in as a mobile home specialist. I'm
Yeah.
coming across a little bit different,
Yep.
right? And it's like this guy apparently knows a little bit more than your average person, and
Mm-hmm.
it starts to bring that wall down,
Yep.
and you're starting to connect with him and build rapport. And then even the things like he also asked permission, he introduced himself, and he did it. When we said we don't sublease, he was cool with it. And he even mentioned that that's why he always talks to the park owner or manager. This might be somebody we want to do business with,
Yes.
right?
That is yes. Yes.
And
That is
so I do that on purpose, just to say things like that.
yes.
I might even use words like unit on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
we always like to talk to the park manager. Glad we caught you. We always like to talk to the park first before we purchase any units.
Yeah.
That is my way of saying, hey, I'm an investor without saying I'm an investor. So they
Mm-hmm.
know. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to say it. They kind of know, and that tends to want them. So I feel like it tends to for them to want to know more about me. They're
Yeah.
curious. And I know some of the cues I pick up on is when that park owner starts asking me, what was your name again?
Mm-hmm.
That then I know, like I can tell, okay, I'm about to reel him in.
Yes. Yes. I love it. I love it. Tara, my girl Tara. She's like fire flames. This is too hot. She and I just had our session earlier today. So I know she is fired up. She's gonna be putting out some signs this week. So she is fired up. Somebody asked, how much is the deposit? Is it a percentage?
It is not a percentage, so it's not like a formula I use. For me, guys, I prefer to get my deposit in the amount of my assignment fee.
Mm-hmm.
That's my preferred way to do it. And if the deal goes exactly how I want it to go, but it doesn't always go that way, and I'm willing to wiggle and work with the buyer. But that's what I prefer. For example, let's say I don't know. Let's say that the seller needs 10 and the buyer's willing to pay 5, so my spread's going to be 5. The buyer's willing to pay 15, and the
Mm-hmm.
seller's at 10.
Mm-hmm.
So my fee is going to be 5. So I would prefer to get a non-refundable deposit in the amount of $5,000,
Mm-hmm.
which would be my assignment fee, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the buyer and seller, to finish out the remainder of that of the contract. But
Yeah.
by that point, I'm out. I mean, I've already got paid. So I kind of, that's how I protect my time and energy is to collect it up front. There are some times, like for example, let's say the seller, the buyer has 3,000,
Mm-hmm.
and by, today's Monday, 3,000, and they want to close on Friday, they'll have the rest of it by then. I'm fine with that. We can make that work.
Right.
Right? But it
Absolutely.
is non-refundable.
Right. That is the big key there. That's
Yeah.
the big key there. Yeah, I think that's so important. It's just and sometimes just being flexible, but making it make sense at the same time. So that's really, really good. I love this. I absolutely love this because like you really literally said everything that I do and that I believe. And it's like just confirmation that like, okay, we got it from Calvin. We got it from Calvin, y'all. So, so I'm like, okay, cool. We doing everything right. But yeah, no, this was really good because again, I think that the number one thing that I see is a lot of newbies going out and just kind of going cold to these people. And I just think that, from experience, it's not the best approach, but coming in, one, like we discussed earlier, like knowing that there is something that you can solve, not necessarily attacking it that way, but just knowing that there's something you can solve, going in there, trying to offer something while being transparent. And I love just the language. Like, guys, if you're coming in, late, make sure you replay this and like literally listen to exactly how Calvin held that conversation, role playing, talking to a park manager, because that was perfect. That was absolutely perfect. And in the language that, that you guys can get and be able to try to utilize when you're talking to these parks, because I think that's another thing when you're new, and somebody tells you what to say, they tell you the first line, and then once you start going, then it's like, oh my God, it's somebody saying something. What is a unit, or what is what is a lot rent? I don't even. They just told you the opening line. So I do
Look, I have had park owners too, after like doing a deal or helping them with something, where they'll be more open minded. Like it
Yeah.
changes over time.
Yeah.
I've had park owners that have told me no first, and then I presented it a different way, and then they end up, we have a sit down, we have lunch and everything, we talk, and then all of a sudden they're like, you know what, I'm open to it. We'll try it one time, see if it works.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have had that where some of them will convert over. But
Yeah.
even if they don't, I mean, investor friendly or not investor, because I see that like you probably see it in your group too,
Yeah.
but I see it in
Yeah.
my group all the time. Was
Yeah.
like, what do you do if the park's not investor friendly? Well, I ask, like, what do you plan on doing in the park? Well, I
Yeah.
just want to wholesale.
Right.
Okay, well then you can go back to them and you can, that's fine. Like you don't have to. How do you know they're not investor friendly? Because I asked them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And well, they don't know what that, if investor friendly can mean a lot of different things. I mean,
Yeah.
technically, I guess I'm not investing in the park.
Right.
I'm really just providing a service
Right.
that ends up becoming like a win-win-win for like multiple people,
Mm-hmm.
um, with that. But it's not like I'm going to be owning a home or living in a park. It's a different game.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this. I love this. This was a great, great conversation. And again, just to like kind of, just tap into like the number one thing that not the number one, you said so many great things, but one of the things that you said is like just your marketing. Cause I know so many people want to know, like, where'd you find the deal? How'd you get it? That's always like the number one question. Was this, and it's just like marketing to those sellers at the end of the day. Contacting those sellers, reaching out and finding motivated sellers, and then, continuing the conversation from there, whether it needs to be moved, whether it doesn't need to be moved. A large part of our deals need to be moved. It's like, I would say probably like 50, honestly, like probably like 60-40 for us need to be moved, and 40% can stay. So it's just good to have those conversations. And another thing that you mentioned in here was referrals, which is huge, 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 huge. Just being able to get referrals. I mean, we get referrals now from park managers, movers, like, handymen, everybody, our sellers, so just making sure. And I think it's, to your point, being transparent, actually doing what you said that you're, doing what you promised you're going to do, if not more. And yeah, just being, doing the best that you can do. So, guys, if you are out here, we all are, each one teach one, and we're all being, essentially affected by everybody, in some way, shape, or form sometimes. So it's like, move with integrity, so that, we don't
Yeah.
have to have these type of conversations. And park managers all over will be more willing to work with us all, if we're all moving with integrity. So, Calvin, this was great.
No, I enjoy it. I enjoy talking about mobile homes. I got a mobile home problem.
I don't think it's a problem, because you are over here providing solutions and things for everybody. So we love it. We appreciate it. And guys, again, make sure you guys follow Calvin, friend request, follow his group, Mobile Home Investing Full Time. And I just really, really appreciate it. We want to know, because we're planning on having Calvin back the first Tuesdays of every month. And if you guys have any questions that you would like us to discuss, like, Calvin to come in and help us with, the answers to, definitely make sure that you reach out, let us know, leave a comment what you guys want to hear about, so we can make sure that we are addressing your most needed questions. All right, guys.
Absolutely.
Calvin, it was so great. This was so great. I learned a ton today. I can tell you that. I feel good. I'm like, okay, cool. We doing it right. We doing it right.
No, I
Calvin,
enjoy it, and I'm so happy to see just the success of your group, and
thank
I see how
you.
much you're sharing and how transparent you are, and I love that. I love that energy. And look, I just want to say this too.
Yes.
Um, I'm excited about your event this weekend, so I hope it goes well. And if anybody in this group is interested in y'all not going to that event, if you're anywhere near around Atlanta, you guys need to be there. So,
Yes. Yes.
so I
I
hope
am
you guys.
so excited. I am so, 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 so excited. So yeah, we Atlanta, uh this Saturday, May 14th, the mobile home conference, which my girl Tara will be at again. And who else is Gigi's son is gonna be
Look,
there. So
that's my friend there.
yes, I
That's
know
my
she is.
friend.
She
Yeah.
be on it. Like, as soon as she was like, "What?" As soon as I posted about it, she said, "I'm there. I can't wait." I'm like, "I hear you, girl." So
She's so present. She's doing so much work right now and putting in the work, her and her son, Ansar.
yes,
So it's real fun to watch.
yes, yes, yes. So I'm excited. I'm so, so excited. So, but Calvin, thank you so much. We cannot wait for the next time that we have you on. And just, again, we just all want to thank you so much for just, adding so much value to the mobile home community and to us all at large. I know a ton of people in the industry that have learned from you. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. So
Absolutely. Yeah, keep
yes,
doing what you're doing, and you guys have a good time out there. So I'll be pulling for you.
yes, thank you. I appreciate it, Calvin. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, peace,
All
guys.
right, peace, everybody.